Hello, everybody. Welcome to another live stream. Lar from Complete Test Success here. So today we're looking at general training IELTS writing task 1. Okay. So we're looking at general training IELTS writing task 1. It's not very common. Only about 25% of students, maybe a bit less, do the general training test. But nevertheless, for those students, I still have these lessons just to make sure that everybody is ready for the test. Hey, Karthi, good to see you here. Welcome. So for those of you who are new to these live streams, basically, I'm going to share a question with you, and I'm going to get you to write the various parts of the answer, and I'm going to give you feedback on your answer, on the bits that you write. So we'll just go through each part of the essay, and then I'll take your answers and I'll construct, not the essay, the letter. I'll take your answer and I'll construct the letter on the screen during the lesson. Hi, Tim. Hello, welcome. Good to see you here. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is I want you to write the greeting for the letter. So I want you to write the greeting, share it with me in the comments, and then I will give you feedback. So this is the question. During a family holiday, you had an issue with the behavior of the hotel receptionist. Write a letter to the hotel manager. In your letter, describe the problem with the receptionist. Explain how this affected your holiday. Tell the manager what action you want him or her to take. Okay, so at the moment, I just want you to write the greeting. So we're going to say, dear something. What are we going to say? Dear what? You ate too much food, sir. I'm doing okay. Not too bad. I moved back to Ireland last year. I put on a lot of weight when I moved back, but no, I'm doing okay these days. Dear sir or madam. Perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for, Curtly. Yep. So let me take that and add it to our screen. Now, it says at the bottom of the question, it says, begin your letter as follows, dear sir or madam. So it's not that complicated, but a lot of candidates, they overlook that and they start to write their own thing. But if the question is telling you what to say, then I would recommend that you keep it simple and just do what the question asked you to do. Okay, perfect. So from there, we need to move on to the next part of the question. Now, what I like is I like for my students to respond directly to the prompt in the first sentence. Now, we're going to write a paragraph about the first prompt, describe the problem with the receptionist, but I want to have the problem in the first sentence. So I don't want to get to it later. The paragraph is about the prompt, so let's respond straight away. Let's get straight into it. Okay, so that's what I want you guys to do next. Write the first sentence of paragraph 1, which will respond directly to the prompt, describe the problem with the receptionist. And again, I'll share your, I'll have feedback for the answers that you share with me. Thank you, Hassan. Rosemary, dear sir or madam, perfect. Yep, and you need a comma at the end of that, Rosemary. So just a little comma at the end, like this bit here. So just make sure you have a comma in yours as well. Hey, Cece. If possible, can I ask a question that relates to grammar? When I realize my weakness in grammar is doing grammar exercise questions the best way to improve? No, grammar exercises will really just help you to confirm if you're doing it correctly or not, or if you understand it or not. So, if you do a grammar exercise and you get it wrong, you know that you need to study the grammar more. If you do it and you get it right, that kind of hints that you're getting better at it. But no, I wouldn't say it's the only, they're useful, but really you need to study the grammar and it's better to spend some time reading texts and analyzing the grammar that you're studying within texts to see how it's being used and get a better understanding of how to use it. Hassan, dear concern, no. So like I said, we're going to stick with dear sir or madam just because that's what they have told us to say. CC, you're very welcome. Hey Ted, good to see you too. Hi Domenico. What have you been up to? Not a great deal now. The weather's been bad here, so mostly sitting indoors. Hey Ted, I'm writing upon your request to come up with some solutions to the problem of the reception area. No, it had. So that's not what the question said. So you haven't been requested to come up with solutions. This looks like a sentence that you've learned somewhere. So it's not that you read the question and decided this is what you're going to say. It looks like a sentence that you've learned in the past somewhere. Maybe you were told you should learn this sentence. It will be useful for the IELTS test, but it doesn't answer the question. So yeah, we're talking about the receptionist. We're not talking about the receptionist area. You haven't been requested for a solution. The manager did not write to you first. So basically there was some problem with the receptionist, the behavior of the receptionist, and you need to say what that problem is. So this doesn't respond to the question. Hassan, how do spelling mistakes impact your results? Your spelling mistakes will reduce your vocabulary score, your lexical resource score. And then to different degrees. 1 or 2 spelling mistakes isn't a big problem. If you're making a lot of them, that's a bigger problem. If you're making spelling mistakes and the mistakes are so severe that the reader doesn't know what you're trying to say, well, that's a bigger problem. So it just depends on, the effect, how often and how severe the effect is. But yeah, it definitely impacts your score. If you're making spelling mistakes, that's something that you would need to work on and something you would need to improve. Okay. Mohammed, last summer I stayed at your renowned hotel and I got really upset because of the rude behavior from one of your receptionists. Now, the prompt says, describe the problem with the receptionist. It's a little bit vague still at the moment. I would like you to give me a more direct description of what happened, a more specific description of what happened. So the question said that there was a problem with the behavior, and you said that. But I don't want to know that there's the prompt asks to describe the problem. So you've just said that there was a problem and the problem was with the behavior, but that's just repeating what the question said. So what I want is the specific problem. What was the problem with the behavior? What did the receptionist do? What exactly is the problem? So try to be more specific. This at the moment is a bit vague, and I would rather that it was a specific response to the prompt. I asked him if I could arrange someone to clean my bed sheet, and he refused to do that. Okay, so that's it. So I would like to have that in the first sentence. Yep, so good. You've responded directly. Good. I'm writing this letter to inform you that I have a personal problem with the hotel receptionist who has a rude and offensive behavior to me. So again, what we want to know is the specific behavior. What was the specific problem? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Mamadou's and I'll copy that into our document. Okay. Now, just considering the context, during a family holiday. So it was last summer. I wouldn't start with last summer. Like that sounds like a very long time ago. So more likely it would be recently. Recently, I stayed at your renowned hotel and I got really upset. Now, I got really upset. Now, remember, this is a formal letter. We're writing a letter to a hotel manager. So this is too informal. And this is a really important note that with your IELTS writing task 1 score, if you use informal language, you're going to get a band 6 for task achievement straight away. So even though the content and the development and everything might be great, even if the language and the accuracy and everything is perfect, if you're using informal language in a formal letter, your task achievement score goes down so quickly. So there's a very strong penalty for this. So it's something that you need to be very, very careful with. Recently, I stayed around at him and became upset because of the rude behavior of your receptionist when I asked him if he could arrange for someone to more likely change. Because just normally in a hotel, that's what we would ask, is to change the bed sheet, not necessarily to clean it. We asked for someone to change the bed sheet, but he refused to do that. Okay, so I have a direct response now. Okay, so at the moment, this is 40 words. And each body paragraph that I write should be somewhere about 60 words. So we need a little bit more development. We're nearly there. But what we want to do is we want to see how are we going to develop the rest of this paragraph. So we need another 20 words to finish this paragraph. So I want you to do that. So everybody, not just Mamadou, I want you to finish this paragraph. What can we say to make sure our paragraph isn't too short? Another 20 words. What else can we say? And the main thing is you need to stay on topic. So don't just talk about something else. Keep it focused on exactly what the question, exactly what the prompt is about. Sir, I feel like I'm in a furnace due to the incredibly high temperature we have in Sicily. Yeah, I heard about the temperatures. I saw that on the news. Yeah, it looks like things are getting out of control. Yeah. You're very welcome, huh? A complaint for toilet cleaning, but I complained, so that's a spelling mistake with complained there. But you were just talking about spelling, Hassan, so it sounds like you already know that you have an issue here. I complained about the toilet cleaning, but the behavior of your receptionist was not supportive. Okay. Now again, I'd like to be, so not supportive, but I'd like to be more specific. In what way? What happened? Try to be more specific if you can. Hey, Maribel, good to see you here. Gertie, I'm writing this letter in regard to the bad conduct of, we would say poor conduct would be a stronger collocation. The poor conduct of the hotel receptionist when we last visited the hotel during a family holiday. When we visited the reception area and asked for a vacant room, she responded rudely. Good. So now we have the direct response. What was the behavior? It was a rude response. Perfect. So as long as you're putting that direct response into your answer, then you're doing what you need to do. Okay. So I'll get you all to focus back on the response we got from Mamadou. So we have the first part of our paragraph. We need another 1 or 2 sentences. We need another 20 words. So what are we going to say next? How are we going to finish this paragraph? Hassan, instead, he accepted the fault and tried to sort out the issue he started out. Instead of. Okay. So instead of accepting the fault or accepting the problem and trying to sort it out. Now, sort it out, it's a good phrase, but it's actually informal. So again, if you're using informal language, that's going to affect your task achievement score. So again, what you would want to say is, instead of accepting the issue and trying to resolve it, comma, he started arguing with me. Okay. So again, that's a different point. So what we're going to do is just try and stay focused on this one. So Hassan, your idea is relevant and appropriate, but it's not it's not a continuation of this paragraph here. So I'll just try to redirect you back to the paragraph on the screen. Okay, he told me that his shift has finished and it is not his duty anymore to resolve the issue. I was really surprised by his response. Okay, very good. So let me just copy and paste this again. Okay, so I'll just pop this in. Now, this is reported speech. So he told me that his shift has finished, but with reported speech, we need to bring it back. So he told me that his shift had finished and it was not. So this is just because it's a reported speech. If you're not sure about that grammar, you take a look at reported speech, but we have to go back from not what he said, but the tense goes back in time. It was not his duty anymore to resolve this issue. I was really surprised by his response. Lovely. So what that gives us then is 66 words. Very nice. Okay. So that's our first paragraph finished, which brings us to the second prompt. The second prompt says, explain how this affected your holiday. So my next task for all of you right now is to write the first sentence for body paragraph 2. Explain how this affected your holiday. And again, I want a direct response to that. Say exactly how it affected. So don't say it affected my holiday or it had a negative effect on my holiday. Say specifically what happened. What exactly or how exactly did it affect your holiday? And that's always what I'm looking for. In the first sentence of your body paragraph, if you can give me a direct response, that's a far, far better beginning. And then you're focused on the topic that you've been asked to discuss, and everything you say, it's easier to stay focused and it's easier for everything you say to be relevant. Okay, I had visited your hotel recently and found the behavior of one of your managers. So it said the receptionist in the question, it said receptionist. So don't change the context. You know, there's been a scenario created in the question and you have to stick with that. Very rude because he rejected to clean my rubbish bin in my room at my request. He rejected to clean my bin, my rubbish bin, the rubbish bin in my room. Okay, good. His reply of unavailability of any clean bedsheet was terrible. Okay, good. Being like a VIP tourist at your hotel, I need your help to manage this situation. I'm not sure what you're saying about a VIP tourist. The context is gone. I don't know why you would say that. So just being a guest at your hotel. But the thing is, we're not there yet. So at prompt number 3, the third prompt in the third paragraph, we will be writing about what action you want the person to take. But we're not ready for that yet. At the moment, we're only on paragraph 2, and we need to explain how this affected your holiday. So if you put the information that you need, for paragraph 3 into paragraph 2, well, then you haven't developed paragraph 2 about the prompt you were asked to discuss. And also when it comes to paragraph 3, then you're repeating yourself again. So that's not good for your score because you're reducing the development of the second prompt and you're repeating yourself when you get to the third paragraph. So try not to include any information from paragraph 3 in paragraph 2. So let's just stay focused on the topic. Domenico, dear sir or madam, I'm writing to inform you that I recently stayed at your well-known hotel and I encountered some issues with inappropriate behavior of your receptionist. The language is good, but I would like you to put the main problem. What was that issue? I'd like that to be in the first sentence. So don't just tell me there was an issue and then say it later. Tell me exactly what the issue was. So that's what I'd like you to change here. When I asked him if he could inspect my accommodation to check the shower head as it had a leak, he refused to do so. Yep, so that's good. So we have a direct response and we know what the issue is. But I'd like that issue to be in the first sentence because then you'll be able to develop it more instead of kind of being vague at the beginning and then saying it. You'll find that the development is better when you state the main problem at the beginning. Due to that, I couldn't sleep the whole night. I couldn't sleep well the whole night, causing me to be tired throughout the day. Good. In my opinion, this had a big impact on my holiday because I felt a strong stress when I was speaking with your receptionist. After finishing the discussion, my temperature had risen quickly. Okay, good. So I'm going to take Hassan's response and put it in, but just give me a moment till I find the comment. Okay, so this is going to be my first sentence of body paragraph 2. Now, due to this interaction with your receptionist, I couldn't sleep well, let's just say that night. And this caused me to be extremely tired throughout the next day. Okay, good. So that's a direct response. So let me just make this stuff a bit smaller so that I just want to be able to see the question and the paragraph at the same time. So just give me a moment here to tidy up the formatting. Okay, so this is the start of our body paragraph 2, a direct response, and that is 25 words. So like I said, we want to write about 60 words here. So we need about another 35 words to finish this paragraph. So that is my next question, my next task for you all. How would you develop paragraph 2? So now we need to finish that. We've already said what the problem is, but we need to develop that paragraph fully. So another about 35 words, share that with me in the comments, and then I'll add it to our letter, to our answer, and we can move on to the next prompt. Okay, Aborampa. Hi, Aborampa. Welcome. However, the happenings made me have a sleepless night that today and made my sleeping pattern change in the day. Okay, good. So that was actually the same idea as Hassan had, the same idea we put on the screen. Now, the question says, during a family holiday, you had an issue. So it sounds like the way the question is written, it sounds like the holiday has finished. It sounds like you've returned home. So when you say in your answer here, you said today, well, it wouldn't be today. The question is more about what happened during the holiday, but the way the question is written, it implies that that holiday is finished. So we cannot say today, we can say the next day, like we did in the sample on the screen here. Abdul, I went to that hotel with my family and children, and my children were not comfortable with the bedsheet of our room. As he refused to solve our problem, we could not sleep at that night properly. We could not sleep properly that night, which ruined the next couple of days of our holiday. Good. It affected my family vacation negatively because when the receptionist refused my request, I had to do all of the cleaning by myself, which wasted a lot of time, and we could not reach at a tourist. And we could not reach. So maybe, and we missed a. Maybe we missed a tour that we had booked, something like that. Maybe something like we missed a tour that we had booked. This bit here, we could not reach a tourist destination with our group members. That's a little bit unclear with the language. But I think you're talking about going on a tour, so we would just change it to say, we missed a tour that we had booked or something like that. Okay, so we're still on the same topic. We're looking for an idea about how to develop the rest of this paragraph here. So when you're ready, share it with me in the comments, and then I'll put it up on screen. Okay, Mamadou, due to this sleepless night, we missed the buffet breakfast at the Pacific restaurant, which I had already paid for before coming to this hotel. Okay, good. So here's the knock-on effect. We were tired, and then what was the result of that? Very good. Okay, so let me just copy Mamadou's answer here. Okay. Due to this sleepless night, we missed the buffet breakfast at the Pacific restaurant, which I had already paid for before coming to this hotel. So we probably need a little bit more. Okay, let's say, and therefore we all had to go out and I had to pay for breakfast a second time. Let's say we all had to eat out. We all had to eat at another restaurant. And I had to pay for breakfast a second time. So how many words have we there? 70. Lovely job. Okay, so that brings us to the final prompt. Tell the manager what action you want him or her to take. So just like before, I want you to write the first sentence for me, please. So what is the first sentence we're going to write in response to tell the manager what action you want him or her to take? Domenico, he told me that his shift had finished and it was not his duty anymore to conduct an inspection on my accommodation, which made me upset upon hearing his response. Yep, good. I would be grateful if you could talk with your receptionist and tell him about his wrong behavior, which is related to my request. I wouldn't put the which is related to my request. You've made your request, so you don't need to say that again. Not only I take care of myself, but I also think about others. There's no need. We wouldn't really state that. That wouldn't be a conventional thing to say. So you would say more about what you want them to do, but not so much about why you're doing it. So I wouldn't try to promote myself as being, somebody who's very just, or, that trying to make it sound like you're not complaining, even though you are complaining. Or so just make the complaint. Just make the complaint. It'll be easier. As we all know, the economic challenges in this world, it is inappropriate to waste resources like that. Okay. I think you're kind of getting off topic when you're talking about the economic challenges in the world. I mean, really, you're talking about your money. You're not talking about the economic challenges in the world. So it would be better just to stick with exactly what we're talking about. Don't move off topic. Don't talk about, the economic challenges in the world. Talk about maybe your own economic challenges if you want, but keep it on topic. Keep it more focused on the topic that we're discussing. Having been a frequent guest at your hotel and considering the fact that it was the first time such an inconvenience had been caused to me, I expect only a partial refund. I would also appreciate a formal apology. So let me think about this. I think this is becoming too complicated. There are too many different pieces of information here. I prefer to keep it simple. So tell the manager what action you want him or her to take. I think just tell them. Just be direct and tell them what you want. So you've been at the hotel many times. I don't think that's relevant. It was the first time that you had such an inconvenience. Again, I don't think that's relevant. I expect only a partial refund. You expect it, but you haven't requested it. So you tell them what action you want them to take. You're saying what I expect, but you respond directly and say, I expect you to give me, like, be more direct with it. I would also appreciate a formal apology. So now we're after moving off the refund and we're after moving on to another idea. So I think you're including too much information. I would like just make it simple, keep it simple, just say exactly what you want them to do. And for now, keep it with one, because we've just said that you want a partial refund. And what I would like to come after that, I would like you to develop that more fully, talk about the partial refund instead of moving on to a formal apology. So now you've kind of included some information we don't need. You haven't directly asked for the partial refund, and you haven't talked more about the partial refund. You've moved on to another topic. So I'd like to keep it simple and just make one direct request is what I would prefer. So in the last, I would highly recommend a refresher. In the last isn't a cohesive device. That's not appropriate. I'm not sure what I could say instead, but let's just move on. So let's remove that completely and just start with, I would highly recommend a refresher training course for this receptionist, where a course and training on ethics and customer handling must be included. And further, the cost of training must be deducted through the receptionist's salary. We wouldn't really be able to make that request. So what you want to do is, I know it's an imaginary situation. I know this isn't a real thing. It hasn't really happened, but still we would want to kind of keep our essay within the confines of what would normally happen. So, if you said, I think that person should have more training, that's fine. But I think that they should have more training and they should pay for it. That wouldn't typically be a request that we could make. So I would just stick with what you would expect to happen, in a normal hotel. Okay, thanks. Develop explanation that the manager needs to do. Okay, thanks. Develop explanation that the manager. Develop an explanation about what the manager needs to do. Yeah. For the last one, tell the manager what action you want him to take. So I think just say what you want the manager to do. At the moment, you guys are making it a bit too complicated for me. And not necessarily that you're wrong, but life is a lot easier when you just take a simple idea and develop it. When you start adding in too many pieces of information that aren't really connected, then when it comes to developing your idea, it's harder to know where to start. So I think at the moment, I'd like you just to keep it simple. Mamadou, I believe this kind of behavior should not be encouraged by the management, as providing great customer service experience to their guest is one of the key selling points of your hotel. Okay, so you're talking about it, but you haven't made the request. You haven't told the manager what action you want to take. So at this point, it's not a direct response. And this is why I always get my students, I tell them, here, write the first sentence of paragraph 3 about the prompt, about what exactly directly responding to the prompt. Because if you write something like this first, so you've written how many, I don't know, 20, 30 words, and then you say what you want the manager to do, and then you develop that idea. So now you end up with just a very small amount of development about your idea, about what the prompt has asked you to discuss. So instead of having a full paragraph developing what you were asked to discuss, you have a kind of a vague comment, then the thing that you were asked to talk about, and then just a small bit of development. So really, you're not using your full 60 words to respond directly to the prompt. You end up kind of talking more generally, and that's not as good for your task achievement score. So I would prefer, instead of this, to say exactly what you want them to do. A member and a guest of a hotel is the same? No, we wouldn't talk about a hotel member. Is that something I put in my essay? No. Okay, so no, we wouldn't talk about a hotel member. No, that's not a phrase we would use. Lara, that would be too direct, I expect. Ahmad, I'm not sure. Oh, in response to yours? No, because the whole idea is that you need to say what you want them to do. So no, I wouldn't go with the indirect approach. I would go with the direct approach. I would say exactly what because maybe you're saying under normal circumstances you wouldn't go and make a request like that. And to be honest, I would never do that. If I was staying in a hotel, I personally wouldn't write a letter to the manager. I would talk to the person directly, or I do nothing. But the question has asked us to do that, so we're just going to do what the question asked us to do. Tell the manager the action you want him or her to take. So let's just do what they've asked. I expect your institution to take customer care serious and on-the-job training of staff. So again, you're not really telling the manager what action you want them to take. You're saying, kind of what you would expect the hotel to do in general, but we want a direct action in response to the situation that you've experienced. So we'll just say, look, and I'm sure some student will have a direct response, and we'll use that. As a result, you should train your receptionist further before he continues his duty, and make sure next time he treats the guests properly. As a result, it wouldn't be as a result. You should train the receptionist further before he continues his duty, and make sure next time he treats the guests properly. Okay, let's go with this. I personally feel like the fact that we've just spoken about the fact that this bit here, I had to pay for the restaurant. I already paid for breakfast, and then I had to pay for breakfast a second time. I think the fact that we've just been talking about, the fact that you've lost money because of this receptionist, I think asking for a refund is kind of the best link between those things. So not this one. This one, I expect only a partial refund. I'm actually going to take this one. I'm going to go back and I'm going to take this one. So let's add that in. Okay, because I have lost money on account of your receptionist's behavior, I expect you to refund the money I paid for the breakfast at the Pacific restaurant. Okay, I think that's the easiest way to go. So we've just said that we lost money. So instead of saying you should train the staff member, say, I lost money, I want you to give it back. I think that's an easier response. Okay, so just give me a moment here now, and I'll try and squeeze everything in on the page. It's just kind of helpful to see the question and the prompt at the same time. Okay, so as I'm sure you're expecting, what I would like you guys to do next is tell me how you would develop the rest of this. So at the moment, what do we have here? We have 27 words, so we need roughly another 30 words to finish the paragraph. So that's what I'd like you guys to do. Write the rest of that paragraph and share it with me in the comments. Pay fines. I don't know. You see, maybe I've never been somewhere that the hotel would make their staff members pay a fine. I don't. Maybe that's it depends on the country, but I've never heard of that situation. So I don't know if that's something that's realistic. If that's something that really happens, I would say yes. But if it's something that never happens, I would say no. So just because I never heard of it doesn't mean that I'm right. But for me, I'd prefer to stick to the context of what I know happens in the real world. So that's why I wouldn't go with that. When it comes to business correspondence, even though you're upset, you should be polite and tactful at the time. Don't you agree? That's what I meant. Yeah, no, I agree for sure. Yeah. What do you think about that response, Ahmad? Would you say that my response is polite and tactful? Well, it's definitely not. It's direct, but I wouldn't say it's rude. I think, yeah, I'm happy with what's there, Ahmad. Curti, I would be grateful if you refund the money I paid to make bookings for room and meal. According to the company policy, if someone has a problem regarding the service of the hotel, they will repay the full amount. Lovely. Very good, Curti. Domenico, due to the unexpected interaction with your receptionist last night, my family members and I were unable to enjoy a refreshing shower due to the water pressure issues caused by the leak in the shower head. Good. Hi, Curti. Please keep him away from receptionist duty. Good. I like it. I like it. Good. Direct and to the point. Ahmad, guess the IELTS writing exam is all about. Give the monkey what it wants then. I don't know. I mean, if you mean answer the question you were asked, then yes. If you've been told to do something and you don't do it, then you're going to get a low task achievement score. I don't know. The way you're writing it makes it sound like we shouldn't have to do what we were asked. But if we don't do what we were asked, then it looks like we didn't understand what we were asked to do. So when the question says, tell the manager what action you want him or her to take, and you don't tell the manager what action you want him or her to take, well, then it looks like you didn't understand. So, I mean, I don't see any harm in having to do what the question asked us to do. It just shows that you know, we can read, understand what we've read, and respond directly to what we've been asked to do. So no, I wouldn't see that as a negative thing, Ahmad. Curti, people pay. Not sure what that's responding to. Please keep him on some other duty instead because he is not the appropriate one to be a receptionist. Yep. So Hassan, you just made that point here. So if this is the first sentence, that's fine. If this is the first sentence, that's fine. But this would not be development of this because you're repeating the same point. I've attached my account details and I'm expecting the refund as soon as possible. Good. Moreover, I want an apology from that receptionist as he hurt my feelings. and make sure you train him properly before he continues his duty. So Mamadou, I don't want to give a list of different things. So we can do that, but what you have to remember, your task achievement score, part of your task achievement score is for developing your ideas. So having an idea and then developing it. So if we have one idea is, I want a refund and I want an apology and I want him to have more training, well, then that's 3 ideas. So what's better is just to have fewer ideas and more development, because the ideas will get us to a band 6, and it's the development of the ideas that gets us from a 6 up to a 7, up to an 8, up to a 9. So many ideas reduces how much development we have. So rather than having 3 ideas, I'd rather have 1 idea and a lot of the development of that 1 idea. Okay, so let me go back to Kurt's response here. It's probably not long enough, so we'll need to add something extra. But it does respond to the same idea. So the idea that we want a refund. So I've attached my, let's say, just because we're short on words, let's fill it up. And I am expecting the refund as soon as possible. Okay, so almost there, still a little bit short, I would say 44. So we need another little bit of development. If I don't hear from you within 5 working days, I will what would you do if you didn't get the refund? I will deal with this problem through my bank. Okay. And that should be long enough. 63 words. Lovely. Okay. So that's our full essay written. But what, of course, we are missing is our sign off. So now that we've written the essay, we just need to sign off. So it's a formal letter. So we're going to want to sign off with a formal sign off here. So yours sincerely, comma, and then we put first name and surname. So, you know, if it was an informal letter, we might say something like kind regards or best wishes and just the first name. But it's a formal letter, so we're going to have yours sincerely, first name and last name. And that is our full letter finished. We're done. We did it. Okay, so I have a few more comments here, and then we're going to have to finish up. Suyoi. Last night we were unable to have a shower and prepare for the following day. Consequently, we felt utterly embarrassed to partake in the buffet breakfast at the Flavors of the World restaurant, which we had already reserved before coming to this hotel. Therefore, we all had to place an order for breakfast by calling room service attendant. Good. Yours faithfully. Good. When do we use faithfully and yours sincerely? I just always use yours sincerely. I always use yours sincerely. It's always appropriate, and I don't need to think about whether I'm right or wrong. So I'll always use yours sincerely for formal, and I always use best wishes for informal. And that's it. I know there are many other ones, but I just try and keep it as simple as possible. So when do we use, if you're asking me specifically, I never use yours faithfully. That doesn't mean it's wrong, but I just keep it simple. We only need one, so I just use the same one every time. As we couldn't enjoy our vacation, it is stated that please arrange free accommodation for my next trip along with my family so that we couldn't shake our trust on your hotel services. So this shake your trust, that's not really a phrase that we would use, but the writing is good and it responds directly to the to the prompt. Okay, so that's it for today. I'll put that essay up on my website later this week, maybe Saturday or Sunday. So if you go to my website, you'll see I have sample essays for task 1 academic, task 1 general training, task 1, task 2, and I'll include this one. So I'll upload the essay, the letter that we just wrote, later this week. But yeah, that's it for now. Best of luck to those of you with IELTS tests coming up. Take care of yourselves and see you next time.